So to make a Peardeck, you have to make sure you have the add-on Peardeck. You can get it from here.
Yep.
Once you have it, you open the Peardeck add-on. It shows up on the right-hand side. You can leave it open. You go through your Google slideshow and you decide where you want the kids to be interactive. So
Yep.
after the first one I did, okay, here's a homework one. How was it? I added a text slide here. So Peardeck has templates already created for you, or you as a free member have the option to insert 4 things on top of your slides. These ones insert new slides into your presentation. These ones add on top. So you can add a text response for the students. The students can do multiple choice. They can put a number in or a website. I'm gonna actually throw in multiple choice on this one too, because that's one I didn't go over. Okay, you update the slides and you're ready to go. Once you feel like you've created your lesson, you click Start Lesson. You choose Instructor Paced Activity. Couple different options. If you're comfortable with it, the kids can just type this URL in, type in the code. You can invite a Google Classroom to join you. You can copy the link and send it in the chat. I'm going to actually send you this one in the chat again. I don't know if it's still going. This is a different one,
Yeah.
Which actually is kind of a good thing to tell you, because if you change something to your lesson and you already have presented it with Peardeck, it's not like Google where it's automatically going to upload. You actually have to stop presenting, go back, make the changes, and present with Peardeck again, if that makes sense.
When you present with Peardeck again, it's going to give a new join code, correct?
Correct. It will.
But it'll be the same presentation.
Yes, same presentation. It's just sometimes, like, say I taught block 1, and I was like, oh, darn, I really wish that I had done this, and you go back and change it. You just need, I would do a new presentation for every block, because you don't want 150 responses on your Peardeck slide. You actually just want it probably block by block to analyze the results most efficiently. So once you've presented with Peardeck, you have a couple different options. The slide deck is over on the left-hand side if you want to jump to slides more effectively. You can scroll through slides with the arrow tool. If you have speaker notes that you want to talk to with the kids, you can actually hit the notes and just make sure you read it just to remind yourself of how you want to talk through your lesson. The one that I did that was multiple choice, I don't remember which one it was. Was it this one? But I was hoping to show you that multiple choice tool. Oh, you know what? Hold on 1 second. This is on the fly teaching right here. Okay, I am on the multiple choice screen. If you're here, this is what multiple choice looks like for the kids. So they would read the question and then choose the answer. Now, this is the student screen, but back on the teacher screen, if I wanted to show the responses, what I would do is click this lock screen button. I would say, okay, time's up. Let's look at the responses we have here. And what happens is the multiple choice bars will come up. It's not going to tell the kids right away if they're right or wrong, but this is a talking point for me as a teacher. Like, oh, most of you got the right answer. Great job. And then I would, or why is this the right? Why is this one wrong? And then I would unlock, hide the responses, unlock the screen for the kids, and then continue throughout my lesson, however I wanted them to interact. You can also send new prompts on the fly. So if you didn't plan for it, but you're like, okay, at the end, what do you wonder about the topic today? So you can choose things to throw at them throughout the lesson. And when you're done, there are 3 dots that you can say end the session. I would name it with your block name, block 1A on LCM, and I would save it. And that's really top to bottom of how a Peardeck would work.
Okay, so just to review, who can see what? As the teacher, I'm going to see all the behind the scenes stuff, the 3 dots, the options, the lock screen button, all of that stuff.
Yep, this will be your teacher dash. It's your teacher projection is what it's.
Okay, that's where I was getting confused. I thought I needed to have the teacher dashboard to have what I see different from what they see.
And the teacher dashboard really comes into play. Let me see if I have some response. Oh, right here. The teacher dashboard really for your is going to be the show responses. Like this is really what you want to know about. If you had the upgrade of this, do any science teachers have it that you're working with right now? There are some people, I think they're in the science department, but it'd be good to have, if you use this and it's a tool that you like, to sit down and be like, okay, here's the free, here's the premium. Do we think it's worth it? Is this a tool I would even want for? And that would be a really good conversation in your department.
Okay.
Okay.
When I lock, I'm sorry, I'm still not 100%. So when I lock the screen, then the students can't see anything. Then we just see that black screen that says teacher has locked the screen.
Yep.
And then on my view, I can look at then I click view responses and I can see what it is.
You can.
And then if I want to, I can show their responses by not hiding them.
Yep.
Right? So when I unlock the screen, whatever I'm looking at, the students can see. Is that correct?
It is correct. So when you unlock the screen, whatever slide you left off on when you locked it will be what they appear to again. Yep.
And if I leave view responses on, then they will also see the responses.
They will, and they're anonymized. So
okay.
That's a tricky thing too. Like, do I think some kid would be like, write something inappropriate? I'm sure somebody would. Cool thing is that you can export that. So if you quickly end the session and export the sheet, you'll be able to see the kid's name that wrote that. But I also wouldn't not use the tool because of that, because I think it's going to heighten engagement in your classroom. Like, I think you being in charge of just for me, the difference between assigning a Google slide and a Peardeck is like, okay, now we can ask some questions during this. Now my teacher's like randomly throwing out things, so I have to make sure I'm paying attention. Like, they can't be on slide 8 when you're covering slide 2. I just think there's a lot more benefits.
Mm-hmm. All right, so let's say I've locked the screen. I'm viewing the responses as the teacher. I'm doing a quick preview, and I see that there's nothing inappropriate, and it's instructive to share with the class what other students were saying. In that case, then I would leave the view responses on and unlock the screen. And then we look as a class at all the responses.
Mm-hmm. And in that case, Gabi, you would need 2 devices, because you would have to be on the teacher dashboard. I'm trying to see if I can explain this effectively. The only way to show responses without previewing them is to hit that show responses. So you're almost previewing them with the kids. Does that make sense? Unless you had a second device.
No, I'm lost.
She can't join she can't be the teacher on 2 devices, the same presentation, we don't think. She tried that earlier and she couldn't, it just made a new presentation. She couldn't go in there and then check the dashboard or whatever.
Okay, perfect. So if you're presenting on your desktop, on your Chromebook, I would suggest that you go to peardeck.com. and log in with your Google.
Okay, I tried that.
So when you're here, you aren't able to get this screen. Do you want to try?
Okay, so then I can get into an active session.
Yes, you want to get into a live session.
Live
And I would actually click the teacher dashboard, which is that, man, don't you hate when you click things too quickly? It's going to be that.
Okay, you did say that, but I just wasn't processing.
Oh, I thought this was only available if we paid for it. That's free?
You can see this for free. The only difference is that you're not going to be able to see the kids' names on it. So if you have the upgrade, you can click over this and see people's names. If you don't have the upgrade, you are going to be able to click on things and see what they've written, but it's all anonymous. Does that make, that's the difference.
But Gabi, when we were just practicing, couldn't you see? I saw my name on your screen.
On mine, because I have the upgrade.
No, but Gabi and I, when we were practicing a few minutes ago, I was like a student. She was the teacher.
Okay.
I think I saw my name typed out on your screen, Gabi.
Let me see if I have, I thought I had access to who has what. So this is the data, just so I know you're science people, so you probably like data, but this was the 2018-19 school year, 2019, and this is so far how many teachers have used it this year. So it's kind of cool. Oh, this is 2017-18. So obviously we've increased our usage. But let me see if your name, see, these are the people that have the upgrade right now. Rachel Burr, she's science, correct? Eric Davenport. I'm just looking for Gabi's name.
Maybe I'm wrong, but I thought I saw my name on her screen.
No, probably
okay.
not. But oh, unless she's got a 30-day free trial.
Oh, I think I might.
Okay.
Have the 30-day free trial. And I love these pop-up classes, but I'm telling you, the best way to do it is actually to make a lesson. And if you guys wanted me to come in and just be like, can you just like walk me through what you would do? I wouldn't even teach. I would just handle the tech part of it. And then we could go from there if you wanted to. Because sometimes when you're trying something new like this, it's just nice to
be available.
What?
When are you available?
Don't you wish there was like 5 people in this job? I do. I wish there was like a science person that was like, okay, I'm just going to do the science department. That would be ideal. But if I was available, I would run to you and help you because I think that would be really fun.
I think I just have to try it myself first.
And I think the best way to do it if you're feeling overwhelmed is to start with something small, like even an entrance or an exit ticket that you're like, okay, I'm just going to present this part with Peardeck and not have it be like the whole lesson. Right. And then work up your way to be like, okay, now maybe I can take bigger steps.
What I really don't like is that Gabi was telling me that with Google Slides, you can't use the feature where like text pops up, like the animation. You can't use the animation. And that's huge. Like I use that for everything.
Yep.
So now to do a Peardeck would be, I wouldn't have access to part of the features that I love, and I'd have to make a choice between those two. So
I really respect that. The only thing that, and I have teachers in the foreign language department who use that animation feature quite a bit. And what they do is they keep their Google slide, and then if it's interactive, they only put the slides that they want interactive. They like copy those and make a different slideshow, and then they run them both at the same time, if that makes sense. So they keep all 12, say they have 10 slides, and then there's 2 of them that they want interactive. They copy those 2 slides, keep them in the original, but make a new presentation. And just when that section of the lesson, they push it out with a Peardeck.
Okay, so then the kids, normally they have their like notes slideshow open for me. I would want them to do these couple interactive slides. So then I would open the Peardeck slideshow and
Yep.
press that Google Classroom button.
Or copy the link and send it in the chat and be like, okay, can you guys open up this presentation? I like
They're
that.
not all in the chat. Like, so half the kids are in the school in the room with me. So they're not
Thank
in
you.
the chat.
Thank you for reminding me of that. Yes, I think I would send it out via Google Classroom.
Okay, so send the link in Google Classroom. And then
Yep.
they just click on this link, and then they still have to type the code.
No, not with the link.
Okay, with the link, they just click the link, and then this other thing pops up, and then they answer a few questions. And okay, we're done with that. So now go back to your regular slideshow.
So they
I
would
just
go
tell
to
them.
Yep, second tab. So it's almost like they would keep two tabs open. So they would keep your slides, note slide open, and then the Peardeck slide tab open at the same time. They would just have to know. And maybe in your slideshow, you put a little image of that pair guy so they know, okay, now it's time for you to click over and answer that one in the Peardeck. And now it's time to go back to the slides. And only when they see the pair do they ever access that second tab.
So with the Peardeck version, we would have to take out all the animations. When we copy our original presentation with the animations in it, if we make another copy that's going to have Peardeck Interactive, we have to go in there and take all those animations out, because otherwise when they get into it with Peardeck, there they will be. There will be all the answers. You know what I mean?
So if I'm not explaining this clearly, and Michelle, you can help me. I think what I would do is keep your original,
Yep,
all of your animations,
right.
a copy of it.
Yep.
Copy. I would delete any slide numbers that have animations in it.
Okay, you're not saying the same thing then. Okay, so you're talking just remove all those slides and just leave the interactive slides in there.
Yep. And
Okay.
on your main slide deck, I'd put a Peardeck icon so that the kids could just be like, okay, now I'm going to send you the Peardeck link in the chat. I want you to respond. I want to check your understanding right now. And they would go to that second tab, and then they would put that in there.
Okay.
So the second Peardeck tab could just, let's say my slideshow is 40 slides, my note slideshow. I'm crazy. Yeah, I got a lot of slides.
I like
it. My Peardeck slides, that could only be maybe 5 or 6, and it would just be much shorter. And then maybe one day I could just use 2 of them, and another day I could use 2 more, and they can't forward ahead to see the other 2.
They
so
can't.
I'm controlling which ones they see.
You are.
Right. So I don't even need them in my notes slideshow, except for myself, to remind myself, okay, now we're going to go to Peardeck.
Mm-hmm. Do you
right?
have a slideshow ever, or is it just you teaching from it?
Say again?
Yes. The only reason they would need to be in that slideshow would be if you wanted them to take notes while you were teaching. But if you're just presenting the slideshow, they don't even really need it.
No, they do take
my slideshow's interactive. So like they have questions to answer. They have like drag and drops. They've got arrows to add in. So the problem is I can't see that. It's kind of like I do a Peardeck-ish, but I can't see their results unless I open up their individual documents, which I do. So I'll just pick random kids and open up their individual slideshows and see what they did. But I can't see everybody at the same time. So that would be the benefit of Peardeck, that I could see more kids fast.
Yes. I almost want to take a deep breath before I say something else too. So tonight at your department meeting, I'm presenting, and my presentation has this in it. So I probably already showed you the template library. So there are draggables in science too. So for example, this one I know has a draggable. So they have the manipulatives for you. And I don't know why. So this would have drag and drop. You couldn't really make drag and drops. This is one thing. I'm going to show you a whole bunch of sciencey ones just because we're talking this through. So where you might have made this a drag and drop with the words, you really can't do that in Peardeck, but they would draw on this and they would take this word bank and be like, all right, here's the mantle, here's the inner core, here's the crust. So you would still get to see what they're writing on it, but you wouldn't get to see as much of the manipulatives. And I think there's a place for that with everything. Have you used Go Formative yet either?
No.
And I'm not going to overwhelm you right now because I'm going to overwhelm you probably this afternoon.
Yeah, because I really was about to cry about 15 minutes ago, and I said, nope, you're not crying.
And Michelle,
I did cry about an hour ago or 2 hours ago. So.
Well, then I feel bad. And Gabi, you said it.
No, don't feel bad. I'm just saying, like, I can't take too much more.
No, and I don't want to push everyone. And I wish we were available more. I feel like my schedule is so terrible. But I'll tell you the most effective meeting I just had at 8 o'clock. And this is what I think my job should be. And sometimes it doesn't end up like translating to this. They came at 8 o'clock and they said, we want to do this. Can you make it? And I made it in their drive. And we like talked about how to do that. And I feel like with you two, that would be a really helpful session just to sign me out instead of teaching these classes and being like, this is what we want to do. Can you show us in Peardeck? And then we're going to decide if we like it or not. Yeah, and let me do the bulk of the work.
I see. Yeah.
So that that you could be like, okay, that was really great. Thanks for your help, but this doesn't fit my teaching style. And I don't want, and however I can support you, I want to.
In my case, I'm trying to even just figure out what I'm doing, you know? So it's like, I'm not even sure I would know exactly what to ask. As we're talking about it, certain specific questions are coming up, but I am so like struggling to just put stuff together.
Yeah, but you asked really great questions, Gabi. Like all the questions that you asked, I wasn't even there. So you're awesome. So don't be thinking that you're in great shape.
You're very hard on yourself too.
She is. Yeah.
I'm going to ask another question because the group I met with today, there was 4 teachers, and I don't know how the science department runs. I haven't got an opportunity to work with all of you that much. But is there a divide and conquer kind of, or like a shareable drive where you can share stuff? Because a lot of these classes that I'm teaching, I'm like, please don't be making your own quizzes, or please don't be making your own this. There's libraries of things that hopefully you could copy and beg, borrow, and steal. Is it like that at the high school, or is it very?
In biology, we have a very active PLC classroom. Google Classroom. We have a Google Classroom that many of us contribute to, and we have a share drive, and we're sharing stuff. That it's wonderful, but that can be overwhelming too. You know,
Yeah, I get it.
There's because this teacher does it this way, and then this teacher has a whole different approach, and it's not only the tech tools, but it's the content and how the content integrates with the technology. And the possibilities are endless. And so then it's a little hard for me to find my own inner voice with all of that.
I really understand that.
If I just take somebody else's approach, then I don't own it. And then when I'm trying to teach it, I'm like fumbling because this is not how I
You're not, yes.
That's it. You know what I mean?
So advice I would give you if you're asking.
I'm always looking for advice.
Don't take on too much. Don't forget how good of a teacher you are. Do what you would normally do. And pick 1 or 2 platforms that speak to you. It might not be this one. It might not be Peardeck. You're like, okay, that's great. I like it, but am I using it just to use it because it's the new buzzword? Or is what I'm picking matching what I want to accomplish to get my learning target across? And if this isn't it, find something else. There are plenty. Like, I don't know how your class operates and how you usually would check for understanding. But there's ones where you can have the kids record themselves. I really am a huge fan of go formative because the kids can draw and I can watch all of their responses on one screen in the free version, and not the upgraded version. So I think you're in a tough spot because you really have to decide where your bang for your buck is. And it might mean trying a couple of
where my bang for my buck is. I don't know. But
so what are you using now? Slides?
Yeah, well, here's where I am at the moment. And you helped me with this back in March or April, whenever it was, a review slideshow. And that was the first and only previous Peardeck deck I had ever done. And you helped me with it. And so it's just a series of slide with questions, student types in answer, next slide has the answer. Then next slide with questions, student types in.
Oh yeah, I remember doing that.
Yeah, it's very, one question, it's a drill, it's a review and practice kind of a thing. It simulates what I used to do in person after school. I would do reviews or before school reviews where they had dry erase whiteboards that they held up. And I would ask the question in a slideshow, and then they would write out the answer and hold up the board, and I would see their responses. And then I would do the reveal. So I use Peardeck to simulate that. And that's all I'm looking to try to do this week, actually tomorrow, possibly, with one of my classes, as a review activity. Very simple. So I think I can manage that.
Okay.
I'm not sure. I don't know. I mean, I'm not sure. What's actually even the benefit of using Peardeck for that?
Because you can see their answers. You can see the kids, like all the class at once. You can do that reveal and say, oh no, wow, look at half the kids got this one wrong. Oh man.
Yeah.
That's the benefit.
Yeah.
You know that you gotta. Half those kids don't get it. Where are we going to go from here? What are we
So
going to
it's
do?
like Kahoot. It's really, you kind of get the same idea as Kahoot, right?
Yeah.
Because you're just sort of getting a pulse of the group. You don't see individual answers.
And it's giving students a chance to practice.
Right.
Yeah. And articulate their thinking.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. In order to see their responses, once again, I would need to go to pd.com, PD or Peardeck?
Peardeck.com.
Peardeck.com, not PD.
Yep.
But is there also a PD.com?
No.
All right. I guess I was mixing that up.
You're probably getting that because when the kids joined, there was a joinpd.com URL that they can type.
I knew I'd seen that somewhere. So, okay. So I would have to go to that on like my Chromebook that I'm not sharing. I'm not sharing the screen on my Chromebook. And then I don't remember exactly what it looked like, but there was a place where I can select a live session.
Yep, you pick the slide that you want to go to for the answer and you go through it.
Okay.
You would whatever slide in that when you're on peardeck.com and you open that live session, you pick, okay, there's an interactivity on slide 2. I'm going to pick it. I'm going to see how they're doing.
I'm going to hang up so I can get ready for class later. Thank you very much.
I'll see you this afternoon.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep. And I'm going to have to get going too, but thank you.